Welcome back, continuing our online learning or review or whatever you're using these videos for. Please keep on subscribing, keep watching that YouTube channel and watch the continuation of this series, which hopefully will cover the entire year. Who knows? We'll see. We've talked a bunch about citizenship. Abigail, how do you become a citizen of the United States?
If you're born on U.S. soil.
Yes.
Or if you become naturalized through the legal process.
Yes. So you either get citizenship through birth or the legal process, which is called, yes, naturalization. We learned two laws of. So I could be born in the U.S., I'm a citizen. We call that law of soil. Or I could have citizen parents, and that's called law of
blood.
So I'm a U.S. citizen, and I'm on vacation in Japan, and I have a baby in Japan. Is my baby a U.S. citizen?
Mm-hmm.
By law of blood. It also applies to, again, all U.S. territories. So yes, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, they are U.S. soil, U.S. territories, so citizenship there. And of course, the weird one we mentioned is military bases. That military base might be in Germany or Japan, but it's a little chunk of America, freedom, America. You're born on that military base, you're a citizen. All right. As a citizen, you have some duties, things you have to do. They are not optional. They're required by law. And then responsibilities. These are things you should do as a good citizen. Do you go to jail if you don't do these things? Nope. Their responsibilities are the things you should do. Duties are things you have to do. All right. Maybe there's some hints here, but let's start with some guesses. Abby, if I asked you, what do you think some duties of citizenship are? Things you have to do or they throw you in jail. What are some duties of citizenship?
First thing in mind is taxes.
You got to pay taxes. If you don't pay taxes, you get thrown in jail. Yes, ma'am. So you have to do it. That's a duty. What are some other things you have to do as a citizen?
Not break the law.
You have to obey the law. Whether it's something simple like simple and small like driving stuff, or whether it's big stuff like murder or treason. Yeah, you have to obey the law. You don't have a choice. If you break the law, you have neglected one of your duties, you could go to jail. How about responsibilities? These are things you should do as a citizen, but if you don't, nobody throws a bag over your head and drags you to jail.
Vote.
Exactly. Voting is a responsibility. We would love that all Americans who could vote. Do they? Do you have any idea what percentage of Americans vote and vote routinely?
I'd say like 60%.
Yeah, usually you see somewhere around 60, sometimes lower for smaller elections. What group of Americans tend to vote a lot? If you would say, what group of Americans always vote? What group of Americans always vote?
Older people.
Older people always vote. Older people get out and vote in high percentages, and like every election. What people or what group of people never or rarely vote?
The youths.
Yeah. That 18 to 25 group, they vote like 30% time, where old people are voting 80% of the time. So I'm telling you, youth, you are right on the edge of voting. Please register and vote when it's your time, when you're 18. So duties are things you have to do. If you don't do them, you go to jail. Responsibilities are things you should do to be a great citizen. So the duties include things like, yes, obeying the laws, paying the taxes. We'll talk about this, but you have a duty to defend the nation. If a war is big enough and bad enough, can the U.S. government say to you, guess what? Congratulations, you're in the Army now?
They can't say it to me.
Not yet, we'll talk about that. But they can. Currently the law is all male citizens 18 to 25 have to register for something called the draft. So if we have this huge World War III and IV against Russia and China, and the government needs millions of soldiers fast, it's one of your duties as a citizen is to defend the nation. You have the duty to serve in court. What does that mean, serve in court?
Jury duty.
Jury duty. In case you didn't know, if you get arrested, you have this thing called a trial. Who says you're guilty or innocent? A judge or a jury of 12 fellow citizens?
The citizens.
Right. So, if the government needs you to be on a jury so people could have trials, they'll tell you to show up. And if you don't show up, what happens?
You're arrested.
Yeah, you're in trouble. They may come knocking on your door, and then you're going to trial. And I know in the age of COVID, this is weird. But yes, you're supposed to go to school. One of the duties of citizenship is to go to school, or if you're the parent, the adult, send your kids to school. Does that include authorized homeschool programs? Yes. We're going to see later that this school stuff is run by the states, not by federal government. But typically, all states require some sort of schooling from ages. And again, it varies, but you see the ages typically 6, 7 to 16, 17 years. You are required as a duty of citizenship to go to school, or if you're a parent, send your kids to school. Things you should do, these are a little weaker because guess what? If you don't do them, nobody cares. You can't be thrown in jail. You should be a responsible and informed citizen. You should know what's going on in the country's life. You should get out and vote. Other things you should do, you should respect the properties of others. You should be accepting and tolerant of other people's differences and their ways of life. Those are things you don't have to do. Just look around and you see what? Intolerance and people not respecting differences of others. But I think generally as Americans, we agree if we accept others' differences and treat them with the respect we think we deserve, you have a stronger and better functioning nation and a better bunch of citizens. Why do we have laws, Abigail? Why do we have this thing that has called a government that tells you what you can and can't do?
To keep the people safe.
To prevent absolute disorder and chaos. To keep people safe. If everybody was driving a 90 at 120 miles an hour, that would be unsafe. Some already do, and there's crashes up and down 90, it seems like every day. So just for some basic safety stuff, we have these things called laws. These laws provide order and safety and security for us. We're going to learn this thing called a social contract. Citizens, bugs flying around. Citizens join in a contract with their government. The citizen says, hey, guess what? I'm going to give up some of my rights. What do I get from the government? The government protects me and the rest of my rights. So I, as a citizen, get... Oh, it's on the screen. I was excited. Did I get it?
No. It's literally.
We're going to pause from filming here as I kill this wasp. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. You gotta get me. Did you pause that?